My name is Christy, and this is Angel Talk, where the archangels are real, relevant, and accessible to everyone. Hello. Thank you all for being here with me again for another episode of Angel Talk. I'm Christy Michelle Riggs, and I'm very excited to be back with you again. We're going to be talking today about the summer solstice and also a little bit about the solar eclipse that's happening on the same day. And as always, I'm going to be sharing with you the messages that the archangels have for us and the guidance that they are offering us for navigating the solstice and the eclipse, and for using these energies to shift into a new season of our lives and to really shift into a whole new way of life. So let's get right into it. Um, so both the solstice and the eclipse are happening on June the 21st. And the eclipse is happening at 0 degrees 21 minutes, and we're in the 21st century. Now, the eclipse is also happening at 7:41 a.m. Universal Time. And the significance of all of that is that all of those numbers give us a number 3 in numerology. And I want to read to you a little bit from my go-to source for numerology and number meanings, which is Joanne Sacred Scribes. I'm a big fan of what she does because she combines the numerology with angel messages. So that's really cool, I think. And she's always spot on. I mean, just always so very accurate. And I'll put a link to that in the description box because her website really has just a wealth of information. I mean, she has put, I can't even imagine how much time she's put into that. And she's got a ton of information about repeating number sequences and signs, repeating number sequences, which is one of the signs that angels are with us and trying to get our attention. It's one of the ways that they communicate with us. And also, you can just enter any number that you're just curious to know the meaning of, and it'll give you the meaning of that number in numerology, as well as the angel message for that number. So I want to read to you a little bit from her website about the number 3. And it says, number 3 carries the vibrations of communication and self-expression, adventure, inspiration and creativity, humor, optimism and joy, spontaneity and enthusiasm as well. Number 3 is the number of manifesting and of manifestation. And when angel number 3 appears, it suggests that your prayers and positive affirmations have been heard and are being responded to by the universal energies. Have faith that your goals and desires will manifest in your life in divine right time. Trust your personal skills and talents and the love and support from the angels. Angel number 3 encourages you to be communicative and social with others and to live your life with joy, optimism, and spontaneity. And so I just love that because that goes right along with the themes surrounding the year of 2020 of truth, beauty, creativity, and clarity. And these are also the attributes associated with the divine feminine. Now, the date of the solstice and eclipse, June the 21st, 2020. So we have 6/21/2020. That breaks down to a 13 in numerology, and that's really significant because that is the number of the divine feminine. And then, as if all of that weren't enough, Venus stationed retrograde on the 13th of this month. So we have all of this beautifully set up to really turn our focus toward the divine feminine and really affirms the messages that the angels have for us right now for the solstice and the eclipse. And so I pulled some cards from this most beautiful deck, and in the description box, I'm going to put a link to that because this young lady, she has just put together a creative, just the most creative deck that I've ever seen. And she uses these gorgeous abstract watercolor paintings to capture the energy of each of the archangels and then the messages that are brought through on each card. And they're just stunning paintings. in just such a unique way that I think that she's used her creativity and her gifts. And I thought it was really synchronistic with, everything that we just talked about, that I was guided to use this deck. So it was really, really just so beautiful. And the first card that I pulled is an Archangel Metatron card, and it says expect miracles. And this is a message from Archangel Metatron, really telling us to not give up and to not lose heart and to not lose faith in the process as we see the old earth and the old paradigm falling. And he really understands that is sometimes a tall order, but he's here to help us. He's here to help guide us through that. And he wants to remind us that we're at the halfway mark of 2020. The solstice, brings us to the 6-month mark. And so to kind of, put that in terms that maybe we can more easily understand or more easily get a mental picture of, is we're at halftime. Okay. We're basically at halftime, and we're at halftime here on Earth. And what we're realizing is that we're going to have to come up with a whole new game plan as a collective, because what we've been doing is not working. Okay. So, for the first 6 months of the year, we've been experiencing the falling away of the old way and of that patriarchal society. And Metatron is saying that, again, he knows it can be very frightening and very disheartening and very easy for us to lose hope that things can get any better at this point with what we see going on around us. And all signs are pointing to not good. And so when we look at it, from a 3D lens. And so he's asking us, to raise our vibration, raise up in consciousness and see this from a higher perspective, and to hold on to our faith and to hold on to our inner knowing that miracles can and do happen, and that what we've been experiencing is only making way for the new that's ready to be birthed. And with this card, he was drawing my attention very much to the most prominent thing we think about when we think about the divine feminine, and that is the ability to give birth to new life, and the miracle of birth. And anybody that's ever been through the birthing process can tell you that it is pretty grueling. It is intense and it's painful. And if you didn't know any better, if you didn't know what was going on, it would look like absolute and total destruction. Absolute and total ripping apart and destruction. But then at just the right time, you have this, oh my goodness, the miracle of this whole brand new life is born. And it is so beautiful and so fresh and so innocent and so perfect. And it truly is just, that's why they call it the miracle of life. And so Metatron is asking us to shift our focus to the divine feminine, and to expect that miracle of a brand new way of life being birthed. And to know what we've been going through are just the laboring pains, the birthing pains, those things that just have to be in order for new life to come forward. And he wants to encourage us to ask for his help. We just don't realize, the resource that you have with angelic help that is readily available to you in any moment. And so he's asking us to ask for his help if we're having difficulty seeing things through, this higher perspective lens. And he's the angel that helps us to understand higher dimensional concepts. He helps us to keep, our consciousness in that higher dimensional place. And he's also, I thought it was very interesting that I was reminded that he's also the angel associated with sacred geometry and of the building blocks of matter and of laying solid foundations and laying the blueprint for things to manifest into our earthly reality. And so, it's just fitting that he's the one that's coming forward to give us the assurance that there is a new way of life written in the blueprint for the future, that is built on the foundation of those divine feminine energies and qualities. So the second card that I pulled is from Archangel Zadkiel, and it says, "You have the power to create your good." And this goes right along with Archangel Metatron's message, and is reminding us that we hold the power within us, within ourselves individually, to create our own good and to manifest our own miracles. And we have to shift our thinking on an individual level to align with and tap into that divine feminine creation energy where we're creating our own new life. We're creating our own miracles. And we have to move away from waiting for our external circumstances to look different before we shift how we feel. Okay, we have to do it the opposite way around. We have to shift how we feel about it and shift how we view it and shift what state of consciousness that we're going to be in individually, and that will be what manifests externally. If we're always in a reactive state, then that's always going to perpetuate fear, because there's never a feeling of safety in that, because it's always dependent on something outside of you. And the only way that we can have a true sense of safety and security and peace is to create that within ourselves. And we do that by choosing a higher perspective, choosing compassion and kindness and love for ourselves and others, choosing to see choosing to see the good, and to be in a place of understanding of what's really happening as we watch the old paradigm fall, and choosing to remain in that place of higher consciousness so that we're anchored there and we're not able to be moved to a place of being reactive and engaging in those lower vibrating energies. And Archangel Zadkiel is the angel that when we pass on from this life and we pass over to the other side of the veil, he's with us for a life review. And he's saying that we don't have to wait until then to review this life and begin a new one. We can create a whole new life right now in this lifetime, in this very lifetime. And we can review that the old way wasn't working, and we can ask him for help to see where we need to do the shifting internally in order to create a new life within this same lifetime. So we can review that the old way wasn't working. It wasn't giving us the experience here on earth that we're able to have, that we were created to have, that we're worthy to have. And we can choose to create a whole new life by taking personal responsibility on an individual level to create and shape our own reality on the building blocks of love, compassion, resilience, beauty, creativity, all of these qualities that we've been talking about. So we can see how Zadkiel and Metatron are really working together here to show us just how vitally important it is for us to create this within ourselves, to create our own miracles, to create our own good. And then that way we don't ever have to be afraid that it can be taken from us, or that we can be shaken from it, or that we can be moved, or that somebody's going to pull it out from underneath of us, or that it's going to crumble and fall away, because we've constructed it and we have control over it. We are the creator of that. And so they brought to mind to me like the lotus in the muddy water, that no matter what is going on around, we become that lotus. And we rise each day a beautiful creation, open to receive the light, open to express ourselves, and unmoved by what's going on around us. We still rise up and we bloom beautifully right where we are. So the third and fourth card I was guided that those are meant to go together. They were meant to be read together instead of individually. And so the two cards, the first one is another Archangel Metatron card, and it says, trust that the universe knows how. And then the one that goes with it is Archangel Michael, and it says, release what's no longer serving you. So this is a reminder of everything that we talked about last time when we talked about rethinking retrograde. And if you haven't heard that message, I'll put a link to it in the description box, because this message is really just an add-on or kind of an extension of that message. So really, to get the full picture and the full message that the angels are bringing through, we need to go back and listen to that one as well. So remember, in that message, we talked about the law of attraction and how the universe works at a fundamental level. And this is just reminding us again that we have to trust the process, and we have to trust in the way that, God put this whole thing into motion when he did. And again, I'll remind you that when I use the word God, that's just, I'm from the South. That's just comfortable for me. What I mean by that is source, spirit. I've heard it referred to as big G, as opposed to how sometimes, we can make God small, like little g. But I don't mean man in the sky with a white beard. I mean source of all that is, the source creation energy. And so we have to trust that when this whole thing was set into motion with the laws that govern the universe, we have to get in alignment with that. We have to get into flow with that, and we have to tap into that and use that to our benefit, because why would we not do that? If we know that that's the way it's set up, and we know that that's what's going to work, and those are big, powerful energies to tap into and to be in the flow of instead of in resistance to. So why would we not do that? And we have to, really get in alignment with the law of attraction. And we have to get in alignment with where the other planetary bodies and the whole universe, everything that's going on right now, is pointing us in the direction of and pointing our focus to. And we have to release the old way of doing things where, we kind of white knuckle it and we kind of force it, and we force what we want, and then we fight against what we don't want. So we have to release that and release our focus. If you remember last time, Archangel Michael had a very powerful message for us about releasing our focus on what we don't want, because when that's what we're focused on and that's what we give our attention to, that's what we're going to create more of, right? So instead, we want to tap into the flow of this creation energy, this divine feminine creation energy. And when you do that, you really tap into the power of source. You tap into that the God within. And that's the power that can create worlds. That's the power that can create miracles. That's the power that can create the next half of 2020 with all of the qualities that we desire, of beauty and of truth and of equality and of creativity and of love and of nurturing. But we have to be willing to create that within ourselves first. We have to be willing to do it the opposite way around than what we've been used to. We have to create that space within ourselves first, and create that as our lens that we're going to see things through, and hold that space within ourselves. And then when we do that, the entire universe and an entire legion of angels are gonna match that and back that and mirror that for us with our external reality. They're gonna put everything together to show us that in our external reality, because that's what our vibration has matched. That's what we've created within ourselves. And again, that's another fundamental law of the universe: as within, so without. Meaning what we create within ourselves will manifest outwardly. Okay? So the angels are really bringing us a lot of encouragement for retrograde and for the eclipse and for the solstice. And that's all, remember, that's all happening on the 21st. So a lot of really good energy to tap into, and a lot of really good messages and an incredible amount of support from the archangels at this time. We just have to ask for it and be open to receiving it. And that's just simply all that it requires. So, and before we go, I want to talk to you just for a minute about Ascension Symptoms. And I don't know if you've really heard that term before. When I had really, I've always been very sensitive. I've always, been able to communicate with angels, been very empathic, very intuitive, very clairvoyant, and very sensitive to energies. So when I had my big spiritual awakening, that was magnified and amplified a lot. And I did not know what in the world was going on. And also I was a bit of a hypochondriac at that time too, I have to say. And I was convinced that I was dying. And my husband was like, "You're not dying. You're fine." I made him go buy me a blood pressure cuff, a thermometer. I mean, I was a mess. And so, finally, when Archangel Michael came forward and really explained to me what was going on and really helped me to understand that, then I kind of got into this place of, then when that wasn't happening, I was freaking out, like, "Oh my gosh, have I dropped in consciousness? Have I fallen off the path?" So yeah, I'm one of those. But I wanted to talk to you just for a moment about that, because if you're just starting out on your journey and you're just starting to be sensitive to these energies, because there's so much going on, this can feel pretty intense. For the most part, my ascension symptoms sort of leveled out, and just here in the last day and a half have really like amped up again. I felt very, very nauseous. I felt exhausted, absolutely exhausted. And I have woken up, I've had a difficult time sleeping. I've woken up with just my whole body hurting, just aching and hurting, and almost feeling like there's like a ratchet strap around like my upper chest, like where my high heart would be, like my heart chakra. And then another one like around where my solar plexus would be. And I feel like it's just like squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. And so that's been very uncomfortable. And I felt a little bit like I had the flu. And I was telling a friend of mine that I just was not feeling well, and then it occurred to me, oh, wait a second, you just haven't had this in a while. So, I wanted to pass that along to you guys, that, because there are a lot of intense energies coming in right now, and we're being upgraded in consciousness, and we're being shifted from the old paradigm to the new, that, the physical body, has to upgrade to be able to handle that. And so sometimes that can present some kind of wonky feeling symptoms. So don't panic. You're not dying. You're being upgraded. And I'm right there with you. I certainly have compassion for it. And I know that that can feel a little bit scary if you're not used to it, and particularly if you're very sensitive to it. So I wanted to touch on that for just a second and give you guys some encouragement that it does get better. It does get better, and it's very important to ground. And what I mean by that is put your feet on the ground. Put your feet. I mean, even if you live in an area where there's not a lot of like um, uh, wooded areas or grassy areas, find some place that you can put your feet just on the earth, even just for a minute or two, and it will help tremendously. So I wanted to share that with you, and I wanted to thank you guys again so much for being here with me. This is just so much fun, and I'm so glad that you're allowing me to share this with you. If you go to the website, it should be up later tonight, and I appreciate you guys being patient with that. It's been a labor of love, and angels are giving me lots of support through lots of long hours to get that ready and put that out there for you guys. So there'll be lots of things available on there. If you want to book a private, detailed personal reading, you can do that. There'll be healing sessions available, cord cutting sessions. You can buy a gift card. There's lots of different things on there. There's an ebook on there. There's getting ready to be another book that I'm releasing very soon that'll be on there. And I did want to let you all know that I'm doing all of my appointments via video chat right now while we're still all socially distancing. I do not want to make the mistake of reopening too soon and putting you guys at risk and putting my family at risk. I think that we're kind of seeing the effects of rushing that, and so I'm just going with being guided, of course, by the angels and what feels right, and I'm also being guided by what the governor of my state of Kentucky, which I think is doing an absolutely phenomenal job leading us in a wonderful way. He's not promoting fear, but he's also being very safe, and so that's very much in alignment with where the angels are guiding me to be. So I'm doing everything via video chat, and the healings are being done via distance healing. And then I also offer spiritual coaching sessions on there too. So there's a lot that you can choose from, and I really, really look forward to connecting with you and working with you in that way, and helping you to develop your own intuition and your own connection to the angelic realm. Because what I want to teach you to do is to not need me, because you have all the same abilities that I do. You just have to remember them. There was a time you could see and talk to angels too, and you just forgotten. And so that's what I'm here to help you do is to remember. So thank you very much again from the bottom of my heart for being here with me, and check back with me on Sunday when we'll get to hopefully we'll get to meet face to face on Sunday. I'm going to do I think that's when I'm going to do a video, like a live. It won't be like live. It won't be like live streamed, but like a face to face video. And we will talk about what messages the angels have for us looking into the month of July. So that should be a good time. And I don't think I have anything else for you right now other than lots of love and light. And the light in me sees and honors and loves the light in each and every one of you all. And we will talk again soon. Take care.